Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. Today we're going to wrap up some pesky little details in the tiny house. I'm over here picking up some tools. Kind of sucks having to go back and forth with your tools. I do have another one of these. I'm going to have to do the review, open the box, do the review, get that done. So I have two of those, but for now, I'll run back and forth. This right here is one of the base moldings for over in the tiny house. This one was made after the rest of them. The rest of them are right there. That's the window casing, door casing, base molding, everything. I got all of this stuff straight line ripped so that I can cut it right to width because I don't have any of my machines set up, but that is going to go away real soon. Now that I have the wall painted out here and the electric box, the service entrance, now that that's attached permanently and the wall's painted, I can run the electric boxes permanently and get some 220 power for my machines. That's 220 or 240 actually. So I still have to get my cutter head on the planer, but we're getting real close to being able to use the machines out here. So today's job, well, I'll show you that out there. I got to grab a few tools here, and then I'll meet you over in the tiny house. All right, Natalie's been painting over here, and this is my first time seeing it. Wow, is it nice and bright out here. She's going to be painting the walls. I think it's like a light gray, but the ceiling is going to remain this white like this. For some reason, that does not seem like ceiling paint. Yeah, here's the ceiling paint right here, I think. Yep. So she did use ceiling paint on the ceiling. Usually that's more of a flat paint, but yeah, this looks really nice. Oh, gonna have to scrape those off. That's gonna get in the way of the molding, but for the most part, this is gonna look beautiful. I don't know if you'll remember this or not, but our big Craftsman molding is gonna go right up to the ceiling because they have that big board at the top and then a molding. So I'm gonna have to try to figure out a way to have that molding go around the room as the crown instead of having a molding above the door and the window and a separate crown. Yeah, looks nice in here. I really should do those notches as well. I have 2 or 3 days to get these details done. I have to get this stuff out of this hole and then patch this hole with treated plywood. I have to finish up my drywall over here. I got a little bit to do there. I had forgotten the corner tape in there, so I had to get the corner tape in there. So now I'll have to put either 1 or possibly 2 more coats in this opening. So that could take 1 or 2 days right there. And then I need to drill a hole somewhere in this wall. The tube for the mini split is buried in this wall. I'll put a link to that in case you didn't see that, but there's a tube in that wall, and I have the location of it written down, but I'm hoping that that location is correct. It's right in here somewhere. Let me see if I can find. Okay. Here, this is where it's located in another place in the house. but this is what I have in the drawings. 58 1/4 from that wall, from the drywall, and 12 inches down. So I'm going to drill a hole right there, and if that's incorrect, hopefully it'll be behind where the actual hole needs to go, or the actual mini split needs to go. Otherwise, I'm going to have to patch that up and we'll have to paint again. So we'll cross our fingers on this part. But I think to start with, I need to get going on this drywall. Yeah, it kind of sucks having all these different types of projects. I'm going to be working with wood, working with drywall, and I'm going to need tools for all of that. And it's going to get really messy in here. But it is what it is. Let's get this stuff done. Okay. I have my opening sanded, and it's just a little bit of detailing in the corners, but the sides and the top need a little bit of work too. But I was thinking that I had stuff to do around the outside of the door, and that's not the case. So this will definitely take 2 days, because I'm going to do the sides today, and then I'll come back and do the top tomorrow, and that'll be it. But I've been thinking about it, and this is going to take at least 3 days, because I have to sand this whole floor, and then we're going to be painting this floor. We'll get into more of that in a little bit, but there's a good amount of work to do out here. I don't want to get too much joint compound on here, but you can see that it's hollow right at the corner, and it's not supposed to be. Not real sure how I did that, but I did do it, and now I gotta fix it, which will be real easy, but still gotta be done. Smear a good amount of mud, and then I'll use a 10-inch, I think it's a 10-inch knife. I use a wider knife to scrape this off, and if I do it correctly, I should be able to do it in one scrape, but I'm guessing it's going to take more than that. Make sure this is all filled. She is only going to paint to this outside edge here, so I kind of left this sloppy in the opening. I have to get the drywall on the other side, put corners on that, and mud this again at that point. But she's going to get paint going around the corner, and I don't want it all sloppy like this, so we'll just get this done. Yeah, that looks like a 12-inch knife there. See how we do with this. It's nice having good mud again. My other mud was getting all dried out and nasty. What the heck? Yeah, like I said, it's gonna take me a few. What the heck? Something's causing all these lines in there, and that's generally a hitchhiker in joint compound, but this is fresh joint compound. I may have picked something up at the bottom there. All right, that's actually real good. One more time. And the rest will sand out. All right. Let me get the other side, and then we'll move on to patching this floor. Looks like we have both square drive and Phillips, but it's real hard to see what's down in there. This one looks like a square drive. It is. All right, hopefully that will be one screw less. All right. I'm gonna have to go get the pry bar. That screw is completely rotted out. I think a lot of these are gonna be rotted out like that. Okay, so we have nails and screws. I knew this was going to be a pain in the butt, but I don't think I knew that there was nails in here. Get rid of that. Okay, I ran across the street and found a little bit of Roxol, or rock wool, used to be called Roxol back in the day, and a piece of this treated plywood. This treated plywood here was a cutoff from when we built this building, and it's just been around forever. It's been outside, well, it's been outside almost the whole time, as an outdoor bench. You can see all the cut marks in it. All these rust spots from having stuff sitting on it out in the rain. And it's still perfectly good. Hopefully it fits. I left about a 1/16 of an inch all the way around. Yeah, that's going to work just fine. So I'm going to fill this up flush with the Roxol or rock wool. First I'm going to grind off any of these that are popped up. Then I'm going to fill it, caulk it, and throw some treated screws. Throw some screws in there, and this will be done. Once I go over this, all these uneven edges have to be ground down flush, or that's really going to show in this thin laminate flooring that we're putting on top of this. Okay, let's get back to work on this. I can feel a little bit of airflow right in that corner there. And that's because Natalie's boyfriend put the insulation on the underside here, and he didn't do the best job. It's all going to have to be fixed in the spring. And it's just stapled right now. It's going to need some screws as well. Probably a half a day's work, but it's hard getting any work out of people these days. Okay, we are just about there. It's going to be real nice not having a hole in the floor. And again, for those who are new here, I cut this hole in the floor to get at the electrical probably 17 years ago or so. And I had to open it back up again when we moved the barn. I opened it up and disconnected the electricals from here. And in order to do so, I had to destroy what was here because all the screws were rotten and stuff. Okay, a little bit of caulk, or a lot of caulk. I think we're going to mark this first for our screw holes. This is all we need to mark right here. Yeah, this board, this plywood has seen better days, but it's going to be ground flush, and it'll be a subfloor underneath some nice new laminate. I can see that. It's looking for something to do a straight edge, but doesn't have to be perfect. Ouch. All right. Keep forgetting to take the coat off. It's toasty warm in here. I'm trying to use these old caulks, but yeah. This one is from doing the woodshop walls, and it's only 2 days old. Okay, all done with the patch. I'm gonna wait till tomorrow to sand this because we got that wet caulk, and I believe I have the only sanding belt, really coarse sanding belt that I have on there, and I don't want to clog that up. The mud has to dry as well, and going in and out of here, I bumped it, but that'll be okay. Now for this, I measured 58 1/4 and 12, and I wasn't positive that that was the dimension, and I had my notepad with the dimensions for this hole over at the shop, so I had to run over there again. I've run over there probably 6 times for different tools. Just kind of a pain in the butt, but that is correct. The 58 1/4 is from the drywall, but I can't remember if the 12 inches was from the framing up there or from the ceiling. But it shouldn't matter. If that's the dead center, I should drill into the tube that's in the wall. Again, I'll link to that when I put that tube in there. Usually, while I'm putting up the drywall, when I put up the piece where that goes, I'll just put a little mark in it, put a little dimple in there, and I'll know exactly where it is, but I forgot completely about it. So if I messed up and that's not where it is, I'm going to have some issues, but let's grab the drill and drill a hole there and see what we get. All right, let's see if we can well, it's showing the stud, or is it? Yeah, about right there. Yeah, so that would be the right distance over, but yeah, I'm not getting any kind of reading like going up and down, so I can't find the edges, and I don't know why it wouldn't be able to find an opening in there. Let's try this a little more. Yeah, we're getting all kinds of weird readings. Yeah, now it's going completely over the stud. No, that's not going to work. All right, let's drill a hole. Oh, I hope I don't have to patch this. Feels like I'm what am I hitting? That's fiberglass in there. Damn it, I missed it. I believe that's going to be behind the unit. I have another dimension here, which is where it's at 16. That's where it is in the house. Oh man, if I drill another hole way the hell down here, and that misses it as well, I am really screwed. This would be behind the unit, but if I miss again, problems. That was kind of showing something like it. Well, it's definitely not showing that pipe. I don't have anything flexible enough to go in the hole and reach around, and I don't want to mess up that insulation. Okay, here's what's going on. It kind of feels like there's something down below this. I went and looked at the videos of when I was working on this wall. I didn't find the one where I put that pipe in here, and I don't know if I actually even made one, but I did find one of me putting the insulation. I was putting the insulation in right here, and that pipe was right at eye level, which is going to make it right about here. This is where the unit was mounted in the house. 16 inches down from the ceiling. I had on the drawings that it was 12, so I was going to move it up by 4 inches. But maybe I changed my mind. So this would be 16 from the framing up there, and this would be 16 from the ceiling as it is. So I'm going to go with this upper one and try again and hope to heck that we get into the pipe there. First, I'm going to check and see if I can find that stud again, just for good measure. Then we'll try it right here. Hopefully, I don't have two holes to patch. Yeah, and these things are so inaccurate. If it was right there, that appears to be right. The stud is on the left-hand side of where we got to do the hole. So here we go. We'll just go a little bit below this. It's a 2.5 inch pipe, so hopefully this is going to do it. More insulation. And that's the thing. I can't recall if I stuffed that pipe full of insulation. That's why I brought these out here to kind of I'm really gouging up the insulation in there, but this is pretty tragic. I can cut the wall open if I need to. There's the foam. Is that the bottom? No, I drilled through the foam. I foamed around the edges of it. It fits right in between those two. All right, well, if worse comes to worse, I'll cut a rectangular patch and patch it up. I really don't want to do that. That does look like the foam, though. And that looks like we're right underneath it. It's right here. Holy moly. Let me do a little bit of double checking. I thought I felt something going down. Unbelievable. Below and above, but I can back cut these holes and patch them up, and nobody will be the wiser. This one will be in the room. This one will be behind the unit. Okay, let me do a little bit of double checking and see if I need to drill a third hole, or see if I have the guts to drill a third hole. Yikes. That is it. Right here. All right, let's just do this. That's the only place in the wall that there's foam like that. I believe we are in the pipe. It appears to be hollow in there. I don't think you're going to be able to see with this flashlight. Well, I can't see, but I believe that's it. So with these other two holes, I'll vacuum them out and put some of that modest expansion foam in there. I'll foam them until they get right below the surface, and then I'll just fill that with joint compound. But we'll cut that hole first, I believe. Well, long road to get there, but I believe that's right. I'm going to open up that hole a little bit. I think I have a router that'll do that, but I'm not sure. Let me go see what I got.